So hi, welcome to my podcast. I'm Shane.
I'm Glory.
Welcome back to the Throwback reviews.
Throwback.
We're actually throwing it back this time. The last time we really weren't throwing it back, although learned from the comments on the last video about the Warnings error, the album was recorded a couple years before it was put out, so hence the large gap between that album and the one we're about to talk about, which is 2018's Queen of the Murder Scene. But yeah, we're actually throwing it back. This is pre-podcast now. We're getting serious.
Deep in there.
Yeah.
No, I mean 6 years ago. It's pretty significant. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. But you know, we're slowly but surely diving through the Warnings previous records, because we found them with Keep Me Fed. We had them on the podcast to talk about that album.
Go check it out if you haven't
if you'd
already.
like to check that out, it'll be in the description, as well as our review of Keep Me Fed and our review of Error. Everything will be down below, so if you want to go and binge them and see what our opinions are, and if you agree, disagree, think we suck, think they're great, you know, let us know. Sound off.
Yeah, why not?
But we're slowly but surely moving our way through, and I can't believe I was thinking about this right before we started recording. We're already like this signals that we're more than halfway through the rest of the discography. We only have one record after this.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I'm gonna miss it a little bit.
Yeah, when we initially discussed this idea and that we were going to start off with the Warning, I was like, oh, this is going to take forever, and it's like we're just banging them out already. We're almost done. I can't believe that. But we're just, you know, gonna dive right in. I enjoyed this record a lot from the first listen. You know, if you watched our video on Error, you'll know that at least for me, I had to give it that second listen. And you know, for these kinds of videos, I'm giving the albums multiple listens because we have the time to anyway. We're allowing ourselves the time with the way we're scheduling it. But I had to give myself that second listen because I was gonna come on here and be like, listen, man, Keep Me Fed, great. I don't get it. Like, I don't fucking get it. But this record, like, I totally could have had one listen and been like, I got my opinion. I'm good. I'm set. I know what I like about this record. The only thing that the second and third and fourth listens afforded me was enjoying the first couple of songs, and the fact that it kind of builds up. You know, Dust to Dust is this, you know, big, like, anthemic opener, and then it just immediately drops off with Crimson Queen, which for me on the first listen, I was like, what the fuck?
That's what's happening.
Yeah,
we lost it.
What the fuck? And the other thing that those multiple listens allowed me to push past was, you know, the production, because it is not as clean sounding as previous records, but nothing super dirty or anything that I was like, I can't move past this. Like halfway, like a couple songs into the first listen, I was like, never mind, it's whatever, because the songs shine through and are great nonetheless. But before we get too deep in, it is a concept record, and massive shout out to Timberwolf762, who commented on our Error review, where we said we were going to be covering this next, and said that they had a Google Doc that if you Googled the record, it's one of the first things that came up. So we both checked it out. Yeah, we both checked it out going into this, so that we kind of knew what was going on, because it is a concept record. And just briefly to touch a little bit on the story, it's about a disturbed young woman and her journey, inner journey, through from desire to obsession to murder and madness. I got the doc up here. Thank you, Timberwolf.
Thank you.
And the songs, they're from the point of view of either the woman's inner psychopath or her good side, which happens to have a conscience. And what I thought was cool while reading through is that you know, Sinister Smiles is kind of where it flips and you start to see both sides at the same time. And Pau and Danny wind up doing, you know, the back and forth on the songs. You know, Pau taking the evil side and Danny taking the good side, which I thought was fucking sick.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking cool.
Like, you know, it's not the doc also says that like there's not an official story and all the band members have different interpretations, but the fact that there was that much thought like into the fact that it's a concept record because they all are capable of singing, so like why not have multiple people singing on the same song? Fuck yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I thought that was super cool and definitely adds to the record, but at the same time you don't have to know the concept going into the album, because neither of us read the doc on the first listen. We were like,
no,
we're just going in blind because we want to like it musically before we know what exactly is going on.
Yeah, exactly. It was my last listen where you were actually telling me about the doc and kind of explaining the concept and me going, oh yeah, I kind of put that together because I've listened to this album 6-7 times today.
She's been trying to get me to do it all day because we've had free time throughout the day, and I'm like, Gloria, I need one more listen to absorb it all.
Exactly. So I listened to it maybe 5 times this morning in one go, just back to back to back, and then 2 times later this afternoon to kind of I guess make sure that I know what's going on, what I like, what I don't like, and little notes that I have on the record. Before you explained to me what the concept was and kind of what the fans had gathered together from interviews and just what their own family has said, what the record's about, and just basically concept overall of the record, I was able to put together, okay, there's a strange woman on this album and she is going through like infatuation into obsession into, oh, she did something fucked up. Okay, cool. And then you told me that that's what it was. And I was like, oh shit, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Because it's that on the nose, but only because I listened to it 5 times in a row in one go. So I think I would start picking up some hints and some themes if I'm listening to it that fucking often, that frequently, I guess. But if you're not looking for it and if you're not trying to figure out concepts or anything, I don't think it's a necessary note while you're going through it. You're still able to enjoy it without even realizing it's a concept record, but I do think it makes it a lot more fun. Because it makes the songs a lot more powerful and it makes you go like, oh shit, it's evolving, like, oh my god, something bad happened, something fucking shifted, or we're hearing the psychotic side or we're hearing the good side, that type of shit. I really wanted to talk about the sound shift overall for this record. This is a lot more theatrical, in my opinion, than their other records. Some albums that it reminded me of was The Fallout by Crown the Empire. Very theatrical rock, dwindling on metalcore, but obviously this is not as heavy as that, but rock record. And then it also, on the pop spectrum, reminded me of Vices and Virtues of Panic at the Disco. To highlight some songs that really kind of checked that box for me. Crimson Queen, and then I believe it was The One that is incredibly theatrical. I think it's that one. Yes. I had to just double check just to make sure, because I don't want to say the wrong one and then look back in like a week and be like, fuck, I was talking about another one. Yeah. But no, those two specifically made me think, oh wow, yeah, they were in their fucking theatrical bag with this one. I fucking love theatrical rock. Avenged Sevenfold is a band that really does it incredibly well. A Little Piece of Heaven is check. That fucking song is incredible. So when going into this record, hearing that shift made me automatically know I was gonna fucking love this record. I think they nailed it. Top to bottom, awesome songs, great flow, genuinely just a incredibly solid record. I do think that this is my favorite The Warning album so far. We still have one more, so I don't know. But this one, off the first listen, I was sold. Because it's just, it lures you in, and it's fucking addicting. My favorite song is Psychotic, because I love a good chant, and I think it's so fun, even though the topic isn't very fun, but I think it's such a fun song. I love it a lot.
Yeah, Keep Me Fed is still my favorite, solely because it is a little bit heavier than previous records that we've checked out, and also my introduction to the band. And there's just like some absolute smackers on there, not to mention got to interview them and yada yada yada. There's a lot around that record that I enjoy, but yeah, this album, you know, so theatrical. And what I really like is that there's obviously a story to it, but also in the way that it's sequenced, you're like following this curve that and it's like done to a T. The only thing being, and it's kind of you know, according to the doc, a prologue, which is dust to dust, and then it immediately falls off a cliff, and then starts that build up. But it makes sense for, you know, the story and having chapters and whatnot, that it would do that. But I thought that it, you know, builds up very well. Psychotic is, you know, one of my favorites, and when I was watching the track list as I was listening through the first time, I had it up on this monitor because I wanted to know what songs were going on and not just like a blind listen where I'm hearing the songs but I don't know the names. I want to be able to associate. I was looking at the track list, I'm like, that one's going to be a banger. And you know, I was hoping that I wasn't like amping the song up and then it'd be like the sleeper on the record, and I'm like, oh fuck, and then I'm even more disappointed because I just amped myself up. But I wound up enjoying that song a lot. I like Ugh because that was the first song on the record where I was really like, all right, now I'm sold. Like on my first listen, I'm sold on this album and what it's doing, because, you know, Dust to Dust I thought was cool, and then it dropped off a cliff and I'm like, now I don't know where it's going.
Exactly. Yeah,
I enjoy that one. Sinister Smiles and then Dull Knives Cut Better are some of my favorites. But yeah, overall, you know, definitely an incredible album. Impressive that they wrote this at the age that they were when they wrote it. They were very young. So definitely an awesome listen. You know, my ranking right now sits Keep Me Fed, this record, Queen of the Murder Scene, and then Error. But we'll see where 21st Century Blood places itself on my ranking. And I think yours, we just flip flop 1 and 2, and we've got the same ranking.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So we'll see where that takes us. I'm excited to dive into that record. I'm glad that you know, this is a unique way for us to dive into discographies, because not normally something we do.
No.
But yeah, overall, I highly recommend this record. If for some reason you're watching this and you haven't listened to it yet, highly recommend. I would say, you know, at least for myself right now, this record or Keep Me Fed are like what I would recommend as gateways into the band. And it seems like this album, you know, based on the comments we got on Error and the Error review, and even Keep Me Fed before this idea was even a thing, you know, a lot of people were recommending that we check this record out in particularly. So it seems like across the fan base, this is like the entry record.
It makes sense.
Yeah, but definitely an interesting way for us to be diving into things. We've never done something like this. So it's been fun. Excited for the last one. And we are seeing all of your comments about telling us to check out the live videos. I have checked some out in my free time. We won't be checking them out on the channel here, but we will be watching them in our free time. I'm going to go watch the because we got a couple of comments telling us to check out where they played this album in full. So I will be doing that because I'm sold on this record all the way through, and I'd love to hear it live. Just got to find the time. But yeah, just so that people are like, don't think we're ignoring them. We are going to watch it, just not on here. We talked about that earlier today. Yeah. So other than that, the album was fantastic. We'll be back next Monday, same time, to chat about 21st Century Blood. But until then, I've been Shane.
I've been Glory.
And we have been the Good Noise Podcast. See you when we see you. Bye.
Bye.